Hey, what's up you guys? It's Annie back with another video helping you to turn your YouTube channel into a success. So one of possibly the most underrated parts about getting views on your YouTube videos are your thumbnails. Because on YouTube there is what's known as a click-through rate, better known as CTR, which basically tells YouTube how many people are actually seeing your videos on YouTube versus what percentage of those people are actually clicking to watch your video and giving your videos views. So depending on how high or low your CTR is on each one of your videos is one massive part of whether or not your videos continuously get pushed out on YouTube and get more views. So in this video, I wanted to share with you guys some of my top tips and tricks on how to make better thumbnails that are more likely to actually get views on YouTube to get you a higher CTR rate and get your videos pushed out on YouTube. This is absolutely everything that got my personal click-through rate from lower than 2% to now over 10% on every one of my videos. So the very first tip is what I call the homepage rule. So essentially what you do for this is go on to YouTube, and as your homepage loads on YouTube where you see all of these videos, stare directly at the search bar on the homepage. Then once all the videos load on the homepage, the very first thumbnail that out of the corner of your eye catches your eye's attention, look at that thumbnail and make a note as to what it was about that thumbnail specifically that got your eye's attention. Then you want to do this about 4 or 5 more times, and then once you've made a list of what drew your eyes to every one of those 4 to 5 thumbnails, then you might be able to give yourself more of an idea of what do these thumbnails all have in common. What was it about each one of these thumbnails that got your attention and made your eye go directly to those thumbnails out of the other ones on the homepage? You can also do this with search rankings, because when your videos rank in search on YouTube, when somebody searches up that keyword on YouTube, you want your video to stand out in the search rankings and get the view, which again comes down to the thumbnail. So you could basically research any keyword on YouTube, look at the top ranked videos, and ask yourself which one of these thumbnails draws your attention in right away and why does it draw in your attention. These are all different examples of how to draw inspiration or ideas from other people's thumbnails without necessarily having to copy them or do the exact same thing, but maybe play around with 1 or 2 ideas that might help you with your thumbnails. So then this next one is what I like to call the BROGPPY rule. So ideally when somebody sees your video in their subscription box or on the homepage or in search rankings or anywhere else on YouTube, your video and your thumbnail is essentially competing with every other person's video and thumbnail on the homepage or subscription box to gain that viewer's attention and gain their view. Therefore, you want their attention to immediately be drawn to your video in a sea of a dozen or 20 or 100 other videos to up the chances of them watching your video out of the other ones served to them on YouTube. And one of the biggest major factors in this working for you is the BROGPPY color grouping. So basically having bright blue, green, orange, red, pink, purple, and or yellow color sections in your thumbnails oftentimes tend to make your thumbnails actually stand out on YouTube and gain attention faster. So if you do the last tip I just mentioned about looking at the homepage or search rankings, you will see very often that when your eyes are immediately drawn to a thumbnail, that is oftentimes because there is a brighter color like red or green or blue in the thumbnail that immediately draws in your attention. So if your thumbnails tend to be more like muted colors or more like desaturated colors, focusing more on like white and neutral tones, those thumbnails tend to stand out a lot less on YouTube than thumbnails that are super saturated and green and orange and red and full of brighter colors. Whether that be the actual thumbnail picture itself or the color of the text on your thumbnail or the colored rectangle behind your text, but statistically when a thumbnail gets a lot of clicks and views on YouTube, it is because they tend to be brighter and more colorful. So that is one more thing you may want to consider when making your own thumbnails for your own videos. So this one is a big one, and that is to draw attention to the main subject of your thumbnail. So as you can see in the most recent videos up on my channel, I've developed kind of like this style where I will cut myself out of the background, then I will turn down the exposure of the background and add kind of like a white shadow behind myself in my thumbnail, basically turning all the focus of the thumbnail onto me in the center of the thumbnail. A lot of other people have also taken on this style of outlining the main subject of their videos, whether that be outlining themselves or outlining something they're holding up in the thumbnail. Then there's also a method I've seen a lot of people use use, which is adding an arrow to the thumbnail to kind of like tell people, look here, this is where you want your focus to be, this is what the video is about. But those are basically all examples of ways to tell people who see your thumbnails what the video is about, where to draw their attention to, and again, make your thumbnail stand out a whole lot more. Which then ties into my next tip, which is to make your thumbnail super easy to understand. So if I look at your thumbnail and it takes me more than 5, even 10 seconds to figure out what is happening in this thumbnail, that is way too long, and by then I've probably lost complete interest in the video. So if you have a dark, grainy, sort of more like unedited thumbnail picture, or there's just like way too much going on all at once in one thumbnail, you stand the chance of losing more potential subscribers because it takes them way too long to figure out what this video is about and they lose interest. Whereas if the thumbnail is clean and it's organized and easy to understand and read, it stands the chance of holding on to the viewer's attention and converting them into viewers. So as a rule of thumb, when you are making your thumbnails, you want to consider and ask yourself, what absolutely has to be in my thumbnail to make people want to watch this video, and what can I maybe do without in my thumbnail? That is going to make a huge, massive difference. So then my next tip is a big one, which is to include text in your thumbnails. Using text in your thumbnails is a very easy way of telling your potential viewers what your video is about and what value they stand to get out of your video. This is where I like to use what I like to call positive clickbait. So clickbait is most famously known as something you use in your thumbnails or your titles to sort of like dupe people into clicking onto your videos. But in this context, in positive clickbait, you give your viewers exactly what your thumbnail and your title promises. So for example, in a lot of weight loss videos, people use the whole method of the before and after split picture to kind of tell people, if you watch this video, I'm going to tell you how I got from this to that. Or in a lot of my thumbnails, I use things like my secret strategy or how to blow up your watch time to get people excited to watch my video and find out what it is I'm promising them, which are all things you probably couldn't do without having text on your thumbnails. And if the text on your thumbnail tells them right away what the video is for and about and giving them, then converting them into a viewer happens much faster, and they don't have to spend as much time trying to read and understand your thumbnail because the text tells them right away what it is and what it's giving them. Which then ties into the importance of text style. So firstly, easy to read text. People on YouTube use 1,000,001 different types of fonts on their thumbnails depending on their style and their aesthetic, but no matter what font it is you use in your thumbnails, it is imperative that that font is very easy to read on your thumbnails. So if you use a hard to read font, or the color of your text kind of like blends into the picture, it can be really hard for people to actually read your thumbnail, at which point they just move on onto the next video. So you definitely want to play around with adding a outline to your text or adding a drop shadow to kind of make it pop out of your picture to make it a lot easier to read and gain people's attention. So then this next one is so crucial, and if you take literally anything away from this video, I hope it's this one. Make your thumbnails legible on all devices. When you upload a video on your desktop or your computer and then upload your thumbnail, you can see it nice and blown up in a big size, it's easy to read, fantastic. However, more than 70% of all viewers on the face of YouTube actually watch videos on their mobile devices, where everything is much smaller. So if your thumbnails are super easy to understand and read on a desktop, but much smaller and harder to understand on a mobile device, that could actually cost you viewers. So after you upload your video to YouTube, you definitely want to take the time to look at your thumbnails and your videos on different devices to make sure everything is easy to read and understand on multiple different sizes and screens. Another super important factor is element placement. So something I was very stupidly ignorant towards when I was a new YouTuber starting out on YouTube is the timestamp on your videos. That thing in the bottom right corner of the video that tells you how long the video actually is. I can't even tell you how many times I have edited and uploaded a thumbnail where I have like a part of my text on the bottom of the thumbnail, or I have a screenshot in the bottom right corner, at which point the most important part of the thumbnail and the part I'm trying to actually draw people's attention to is being covered by the timestamp and nobody can actually see it or read it. So very important when you are creating your thumbnails, any and all important elements of your thumbnail, whether that is the text or a screenshot or an overlay, you want to have things more towards the left side of the thumbnail or more towards like the top corners of the thumbnail and as far away as possible from the bottom right where the timestamp is going to be. So then I kept this part for last because this is absolutely the #1 thing that has helped me to totally transform my CTR and get me from about a 2% click-through rate to anywhere between 8 and 20%, and that is the click magnet feature from Tubebuddy. So you guys have heard me talk about Tubebuddy praised so many times for their keyword explorer and all these like helpful tools for YouTubers. However, earlier last year, Tubebuddy actually came out with a new tool called the Click Magnet, where it basically analyzes every single one of your thumbnails on your channel to tell you what is working, what isn't working, what's getting you views, what's not getting you views, compares all your thumbnails to tell you which one has the higher or lower CTRs, and literally everything you need to know to understand what is working and what's not working about your thumbnails. Now, unfortunately, this is a feature only available for Legend Tubebuddy users. However, I always got the hookups for my people, and thanks to my friends over at Tubebuddy, they have offered a 30-day free trial of the Legend license to anybody who uses my link down in my description box. So if you guys go to that link in my description box and sign up for Tubebuddy, you will automatically have a 30-day free trial of the Legend license, which will allow you to use the Click Magnet feature as well as all the other Legend features of Tubebuddy. But definitely, most definitely taking the time to use this tool and to understand what it was telling me and put everything it said to practice is definitely what helped me to develop the perfect thumbnail style for my videos and absolutely blow up my click-through rate and get way more views on my channel. So that, you guys, is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. For those of you who've been requesting this video and asking for it, I really hope it helped you, gave you what you were looking for. Thank y'all so much for watching. Love you all to the moon and back, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!